Green people, crab people, blue heavy metal people. Green people, crab people, blue heavy metal people. Green people, crab people, blue heavy metal people.
The scenario we're going to be playing is number 7, called Outflank, from the 2015 package. There is no kill box. You need 5 points to win. You get 1 for controlling, 2 for dominating, and that's it. Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be another War Machine Wednesday. In this one here, we are going to be having Mark with his Legion of Everblight and his Tier 2 Thagrosh list. So definitely a very powerful list. And on the other side here, we have Josh with his Circle Oberos with Morvahna2. So this will be a very interesting matchup because, of course, with the Legion side, it's a very resilient list. Thagrosh with his feet can bring a beast back, so having 2 Gargantuans, pretty massive. And at the same time, you have Morvahna2, who can, maybe not be as resilient except for the Skinwalkers, but once she pops feet and brings all these things back, it's going to be a real grinder. Now, Morvahna, that side won the initiative. They wanted to go first. And I should say that for the prey targets, the top War Spears are preying the Circle Oberos. For the bottom, those War Spears are going after the World Watcher. And so really on the Circle first turn, you're going to be seeing Morvahna going up, putting up the Carnivore for the +2 to hit onto the Skinwalkers, putting up Fog of War to give concealment to everyone, and everyone basically just positioning around the zones and kind of getting ready for later. So then going into Legion turn 1, he is going to start going up here with Thagrosh. He is going to be putting up the Animus onto the big Blightbringer. And the Animus here from the Ravagore, of course, if you actually hit, it lights things on fire. So with that big 5-inch AoE, if you get a lucky scatter, he could have actually killed a lot of those Wolves of Oberos, but it scatters back, so, you don't always get lucky. Otherwise, the Ravagore puts on the same Animus again, boost hit, boost damage against the World Watcher, and does like 10 points of damage, which is huge. But one of the things I noticed is that in doing that, he's actually gone too hot on Fury. He has 1 more Fury than he can pull in, so running a little bit dangerous there. Probably didn't need to boost the hit. But otherwise, the War Spears kind of spreading out, the pot trying to get up as fast as it can, and a little bit of a standoff right now, with just a little bit of pot shots going back and forth. Otherwise, there's also the spell on the bottom War Spears, where they are going to be having the Dragon's Blood, where they have +2 to their damage, and now we're on to Circle turn 2, and this is going to be something fun here, where he is going to be going up with his wolves, or his war wolves, and that's because now when the wolves Oberos come up, they can shoot, and after they shoot, the war wolves can charge after. They got all these little wolf names. By the way, you also saw Morvahna go up. She purified, so Fog of War went off of both players because Thagrosh had also cast Fog of War. And now this is where the wolves are starting to shoot into the War Spears, and the War Wolves are starting to charge in. But an interesting interaction that came up here was that the War Spears have terror, and the War Wolves aren't actually fearless. So some of these go in here, not maybe the best dice. He does kill off one of the War Spears. However, one of the War Wolves there actually did fail their test, and so it's actually kind of fleeing right now. Otherwise, the Wold Wrath is going to take a shot at the Ravagore, do some pretty decent damage, and otherwise you're going to see the World Watcher go up, and it's going to go Storm Form, and everything's kind of waiting for him to come in. Now, Legion turn 2, this is where he kind of pays for going hot, because the Ravagore actually frenzies and kills off a War Spear. So really, really not what he was wanting. And he's in a spot here now where he needs to get into the bottom zone. Otherwise, he can score with either the light or with the tree, the Gallows Grove. There is another Gallows Grove up in the top forest that you can't really see right now. But there's nothing really scoring in the top zone. However, these War Wolves are kind of in his way. So the War Chief goes in first to try and clear them out. Kills the fleeing one first, berserks into the non-fleeing one, and actually misses. So, just some bad luck there with the high mat. Sometimes it happens like that. Otherwise, what's going to be happening here is he's going to be trying to be doing a shot with the Blightbringer. It's one where if you're in the AoE, you can't be casting spells. So he wanted to get this onto Morvahna, trying to scatter it there. But it's not going to work out the way he wanted. Like, even if you can just boost some blast damage on Morvahna, that'd be nice. But the way it worked here is he's going to end up killing off one Wolf of Oberos and nothing really else. I mean, he did his Animus again, but there's a Black Clad there that's immune to it, and then so the Wold Wrath is on fire, but that's not really that big of a deal. Otherwise, in the bottom, things are going to start heating up here as the War Spears are charging in, and not even just charging in, they're assaulting in. That's the great thing with War Spears, is that they can assault in with their charge, and they can do a lot of damage. And so especially here, I mean, it could have been even worse if this was their prey target, but what are you going to do? He does manage to throw a spear at the tree and kill the Gallows Grove. Otherwise, he's going to manage here to kill off a couple of the Skinwalkers, so that's not too bad. And then the spawning vessel is going to come up here. They're all going to kill each other, putting corpses into the pot, and it's going to be spitting out a Shredder. So get a nice little free beast there. It's always good to have. And he's all nice and lined up to go after another Skinwalker there as well. Otherwise, here at the top, now he is going to be trying to charge in here at the War Spears to try and do as much damage to the Wolves of Oberos as possible. Unfortunately, with that wolf there, the Werewolf still being there, it was a real pain. So in the end, he is going to be killing off like one Wolf of Oberos and the two Werewolves. So there's no more, medium bases in his way, but that really stopped him where, he would have loved to have the entire unit inside the zone contesting, but now he only has two of them. Otherwise, the Shredder goes Rabid to give it extra speed and boosted attack and damage. Goes after the Skinwalker, but that armor 18, I think it is like 1 point or 2 points, and that's really it. So after this is all done, we're now back onto Circle turn 3, and what he's going to want to do is try and start clearing out this zone. So the Werewolves are going to go here, sorry, not the Werewolves, the Wolves of Oberos, and they're going to start shooting up the War Spears in here, killing off one, doing some damage to another. Then the Black Clad is going to come up here and put Hunter's Mark onto the Blightbringer, and that's going to allow anything to charge it, get a plus 2 inches, and charge for free, which is exactly what that Wold Wrath wants. By the way, the fire did not go out, but he didn't take any damage from it, so no big deal, but in here comes the Wold Wrath, and this is bad news for the Blightbringer. Now, after all these attacks start going through, it is going to take all of the attacks to kill the Blightbringer, but one of the rules that we forgot is that he was actually in the aura of Thagrosh, and so with the -2 strength, he actually would have failed. Now, we don't realize this until like a turn later, and at that point, you really can't go back. It's one of these things where both players forgot about that rule and that he was actually going to be within range of that. And, if the Circle player would have remembered that, he wouldn't have gone for that. And it was just so many things just to say, like, okay, we basically screwed up. Let's just keep going. Otherwise, here at the bottom, the Skinwalkers are going to start doing some damage. Really just kind of like some plinking damage right now against the War Spears, but he is going to kill off the Shredder, so that's something. And then otherwise, is just really still the Wold Watcher taking a shot, and then just stone forming there on the edge of the zone again, just to make sure he doesn't lose it. Morvahna trying to decide how much she wants to do, trying to cast anything. But that's going to be really it, and now it is back to Legion turn 3. So the first thing he does is moves the spawning vessel into the zone to contest and start getting corpses he can. It'll be nice for him to actually have a Ravagore this turn. That's going to help. And so first thing he's going to do is, again, these War Spears are going to be going for an assault and really trying to kill off as many of these Skinwalkers as he can. If he can wipe out the entire unit, then Morvahna can't bring them back. Now, that's exactly why there's a Skinwalker way back there, like back where the water is. So he's going to really try to do this as best he can. But, again, Skinwalkers are not the easiest thing to kill. So first thing we're going to do is go through some throws. then we have to go through all the attacks. I mean, that's one of the problems here. And something I should also mention is that the clock is starting to go pretty down quite a bit for both players. You know, there's a lot of attacks to be made. As I said, this is going to be a real grinder. And so when you really have a situation like that, the clock can start playing a very big role. So as Mark starts going and trying to kill off all these skinwalkers, I really thought at first he'd be able to do it, but you know, kill off all the ones in the zone. The Ravagore shoots the last one. There you go. But unfortunately, he failed to kill the last one in the zone, which kind of means that it's not going to work. Now, he is going to go now with Thagrosh, pop that awesome feat, which lets him bring a beast back, and boom, you got a Blightbringer right there again. Now, unfortunately, the Blightbringer doesn't get an action, so he can't really attack or anything, but he is back. Otherwise, Thagrosh put the Dragon's Blood onto the Ravagore. The Ravagore goes after the Wold-Wrath and starts doing some pretty serious damage. Now, the big thing, remember, with the Wold-Wrath is that it is a construct, and that is something that Morvahna2 cannot heal. So if you go and you take out an aspect or something like that, that's really bad news. That's the reason why he has the stones here, to try and heal it, but right now all the stones are too far away. So he attacked with the Ravagore, it did a lot of damage. The War Spears, they assaulted in, they did a little bit, but he actually didn't take out any aspects, which isn't really the best. Otherwise, the War Chief is going to kind of run into the Wolves Overoaths up there, and now we are on to Circle turn 4. So far, we have had, I believe, 0 control points scored, and it's really starting to look like it might be more of a... We'll have to see. I mean, it could be really a death clock thing. Maybe if the bottom really starts opening up, it could be a scenario. But we still have these 2 gargantuans here that we have to kind of deal with. So the first thing that's going to happen is that that mean old Wold-Wrath is going to go and smash up that Ravagore and kill him off. Also make some attacks against the War Spears. And the big thing there is that when he hits things, you basically put an AoE down, and that knocks down those models. So that's going to really kind of trap them there. And now Morvahna's going to go up and pop her feat, and now she's allowed to take a point of damage, and for each one, bring a model back into play. And because the Alpha died, the Alpha could be placed so that the unit coherency is such that he could be putting more Skinwalkers and also a Gallows Grove in the way of the Blightbringer. The whole plan here is to try and keep the Blightbringer off of the Wold-Wrath, because if he can do that and get the Wold-Wrath to the Blightbringer again, then that's what he needs. But if the Wold-Wrath goes down, he will not have anything to really kind of deal with that. So otherwise, he's going with the Wolves Overoaths now, and they're kind of backing up. Took a few free strikes. Some of them died, which isn't actually all of a bad thing, because I'll heal up Morvahna. So she was down to 1 health, but then that went a little bit higher up. And now they're going to start shooting at some of these War Spears and the War Chief. The War Chief is going to be dying there now, as you see. And then on the other side of the Wold-Wrath, some of the War Spears are going to start taking some damage as well. Here on the bottom now, the Skinwalkers are going to charge in, and he's going to be trying to really clear up these War Spears. And this is the big thing with Morvahna2, where she has such this huge swing in attrition, where you start thinking like, oh no, she's lost so much, but then they come in here and do so much damage. So they didn't actually kill that much on the bottom. Big thing is, just like when the Blightbringer comes back, the ones that Morvahna bring in, they can't do an action as well. So a lot of them didn't really get their attacks. So now we are going on to the Legion turn, and he really needs to get in there and finish off that Wold-Wrath. Now, the way I was thinking of doing it was to use Thagrosh to kill off that Skinwalker and to kind of like maybe magic the tree, something, and then let the Blightbringer go around. But he actually goes and charges in with Thagrosh, who puts the bad blood on himself for the extra damage, and then he kills the Wold-Wrath. So that's something I didn't really see coming. Otherwise, the bottom, he's going to be making some attacks, but now time is really getting to be a factor, so he's trying to make these attacks as fast as possible. Now we're back to the Circle turn, and, you know, even though the Circle player probably could just play for clock now, they are going to continue on as normal, and just make sure to try and kill off as many models as possible. The stones getting into the zone to try and hold things down, try and kill off more of these War Spears just to get them away. One of the things that she had also brought back with the feat was the Werewolves, so those Werewolves are in there making trouble again. Back here down the bottom, again, killing off more of the War Spears. So I believe there's only one War Spear from the bottom now left. Really trying just to finish all those guys off. Again, going stone form with the World Watcher, really just making sure that bottom zone isn't lost. And basically now he's going to come in here with the Blightbringer. He's going to try taking a massively big shot here onto Morvahna, and is going to be trying to kill her. The only way this is going to work is if it was so high that when she transferred it, that it would then, I mean, she could only transfer to the World Watcher. So if it was so high that it would then kill off the World Watcher and the splashback would kill her as well, then that would be it. But unfortunately, that's not the way it worked. In fact, it turned out that even with all like 666s, it wouldn't work. And that's when the clock went, and that meant game over. So the game just ended here on Death Clock. What are your guys' thoughts on the game?
We both forgot lots of stuff. Lots. I only forgot one thing. Okay, I forgot lots of stuff.
So, with your strategy here with the circle, is it mainly normally an attrition go with this, or is it more, do you ever go for the assassination?
Yeah, if he's not camping a whole lot, I'll go for the assassination, but it's an attrition list for the most part. It can do everything, right? I held a scenario against an opponent that has more beef than I do, has more guns than I do, well, higher POW guns.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt really comfortable throughout the whole game.
Do you think that you're going to win this by maybe by scenario? Do you think that was an opportunity, or just not really against this list?
Yeah, no, I had two opportunities to go up on scenario, which would have put me at 4. Was instead of making the last attack against the Blightbringer, I could have killed the guy in the zone with my World Wrath on the first attack, and then just towed the zone with Morvahna. Took 2, which would have been fine. I felt like he would be able to 1 round with his Colossal and his Heavy, 1 round my Heavy. So I chose to not go for the scenario points and kill the Heavy, or kill the Colossal.
Well, the worst thing here is that even if he doesn't 1 round you, you can't heal him. So
that's why I moved the stone up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because the stones can heal him.
Yeah,
they can
that's
heal
true.
And all I need to do is bring back 3 boxes for him to be effective again.
Oh, yeah.
Probably committed him too early. I probably could have just sat him basically right in here and continued to take shots. Because I know I out-threat the Blightbringer, and the house is in the way of the Ravagore, so I was in no worry or no danger of losing my Colossal. And I could have gotten gunshot after gunshot attacks against him, which probably would have been a way better idea.
What's the speed on that thing?
5.
Oh, okay.
But then I have Hunter's Mark as well.
Yeah.
And my Hunter's Mark is immune to shooting.
Yes.
Well, not the throws. Shooting,
no, but the
I'm hoping
typed attacks.
Yeah, typed attack shooting. So I feel really comfortable in the matchup. This did exactly what it was supposed to do. Never lost the zone. Just sat there and held it.
I actually expected you to just contest there and mainly focus on this side. I thought that's what you were going to do.
I have more killing power, depth killing power here, with the Reefs, being able to shoot big CRAs, kill one guy, have a dog attack and stuff like that. And the way that he lined up his Colossal, I wanted my Colossal next to him. Because if I move my Colossal this way to play into this zone, he has full range into this zone, and he's just going to tear them apart. He's going to keep dropping big AoEs here. He's going to focus all his guns here. His War Spear is going to kill my frontline stuff, and I'll never get that zone back. Here, he has to either dedicate more guns here to take out my Skinwalkers, and then I still have my Shield Guard there, and he just sits there and tanks it. Like he's not getting that zone, not without a lot more effort.
No.
Fair enough.
So it was mainly a 1 zone kind of scenario for me.
And so on the Legion side, what was kind of like your game plan going into this?
Honestly, I wasn't sure what the heck I was going to do. Obviously, with the Blightbringer, I wasn't as aggressive as I should have been, and again, forgetting some of the rules with it and the synergies with Thags was super great. It would have changed at least 1 turn for both of us. Other than that, I think I did fairly decent with the War Spears. I shouldn't have put the prey on the small beast. I definitely should have went with the Skinwalkers, because he wouldn't have held the Skinwalkers back. Like, that would have been silly.
Yeah, no. I think you need the armor. Like, you need the prey to crack that armor there without a beast.
Yep.
Especially once you got into melee. After the big charge was done,
Yep.
then he's just going to slowly tank that out and continue to grind there.
Yep.
So yeah. And then I get big counter charges with my Skinwalkers.
So yeah, bad choice there.
Should have did a little bit more death knelling, did a little more spell control.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, the first mistake I made, the two mistakes I made was one, I forgot about retaliatory strike on my UA,
Yep.
which would have left him, made you use more attacks.
Yes.
He probably would have got one kill maybe. And was that I walked up and purified on my shooting unit to get rid of Fog of War when my shooting unit has Hunter, which was kind of embarrassing. But she went all that way and then got back. So,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for playing, and for those watching, thanks for watching. Bye.